Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every person's life when God begins to transition them from one level to the next. But transitions aren't always easy. They require understanding, preparation, and discernment. If you are sensitive to the signs, you'll know when God is about to elevate you. The first sign is discomfort. When you feel uneasy in a place where you were once comfortable, it's not because something is wrong, it's because something is growing. God never allows us to stay in places where we've outgrown the assignment. He will stir your spirit and unsettle you to prepare you for the next dimension. If you've been feeling uneasy, don't fight it. Embrace it. That discomfort is evidence of God's hand at work. The second sign is divine disconnection. You may notice people walking out of your life, friends, colleagues, or even relationships you thought were permanent. But understand this, not everyone is meant to go with you to the next level. God will sometimes separate you from the familiar so He can align you with the right people for the next season. Elevation requires separation. And while separation can be painful, it's always purposeful. The third sign is unusual opportunities. Doors you didn't knock on will start to open. Resources you didn't expect will find their way to you. These aren't coincidences, they are divine appointments. God is orchestrating things in your favor, but you must have the courage to walk through those doors when they open. Fear will tell you to stay where you are, but faith demands that you move forward. You will experience a heightened awareness of your purpose. What used to be acceptable will no longer satisfy you. You'll feel a sense of urgency to pursue the vision God placed in your heart. That's because elevation always brings clarity. The higher you go, the clearer your view becomes. Let me leave you with this. God never elevates you for your own benefit. Every promotion, every opportunity, every breakthrough is for His glory. So as He takes you higher, remain humble, remain faithful, and remain available. If you see these signs in your life, prepare yourself. God is not only moving on your behalf, He is preparing to use you like never before. Discomfort is one of the most misunderstood signals in life. It often comes disguised as frustration, unease, or restlessness, but it is not your enemy, it is your teacher. When God begins to elevate you, He stirs your spirit. That comfort you once enjoyed in your current position starts to fade. What used to bring you peace now feels inadequate. This shift is not a punishment, it is preparation. God is preparing to move you to a new dimension, and discomfort is His way of letting you know that the current level is no longer enough for the vision He has for your life. Discomfort happens because growth demands it. You cannot expand into the fullness of who you are called to be while staying where you are. Every caterpillar feels the confines of its cocoon before it becomes a butterfly. That tight space is necessary, not because it's pleasant, but because it forces a transformation. Similarly, when you feel stretched, when you feel like your current position no longer fits, it's because God is transitioning you to something greater. Think about this, a seed planted in the ground doesn't grow without pressure. The soil surrounds it, the weight of the earth presses down, and the heat of the sun bears upon it. But instead of being destroyed, the seed begins to push upward. It breaks through the ground, not because it is comfortable, but because it is destined to grow. In the same way, the discomfort you feel is evidence that you are breaking through. God is using the pressure around you to build something within you. Don't fight the process, because that process is what prepares you for the next level. Often people mistake discomfort for failure. They believe that when things don't feel right, they must be doing something wrong. But God's ways are higher than our ways. What feels like chaos to you is often divine alignment in progress. Discomfort is God's way of showing you that you can't settle here. He is shaking you loose from the old so that you can step into the new. If He didn't allow that unease, you might remain stagnant, holding on to things that no longer serve your purpose. Many times people pray for elevation, but they resist the very process that leads to it. They ask God to take them higher, but when the discomfort comes, they retreat to what's familiar. But here it is, you cannot embrace the next level while clinging to the old one. Discomfort is the bridge between where you are and where you're going. It's not meant to defeat you, it's meant to transform you. Every great leader, every world changer, every person who has ever walked in their God-given purpose has had to endure seasons of discomfort. It's not optional, it's necessary. God doesn't send discomfort to harm you. He sends it to grow you. He knows that if you remain comfortable, you won't move. Think about the children of Israel in the wilderness. God didn't allow them to get too comfortable because they weren't meant to stay there. The manna was temporary. The wilderness was temporary, but if they had gotten too comfortable, they might have missed the promise waiting for them. Sometimes God allows discomfort to keep you moving, to keep you seeking, to keep you pursuing Him. He knows what's ahead, and He knows what it takes to get you there. Discomfort also reveals your reliance on God. When everything feels good, it's easy to forget the one who brought you there. But when life becomes uncomfortable, when you face uncertainty and challenges, you are reminded of your dependence on Him. That's when you pray more, trust more, and lean into His wisdom. God uses discomfort to draw you closer, not to push you away. Let me challenge you with this. Instead of running from discomfort, ask God what He is trying to teach you in it. Discomfort is often the tool God uses to refine your character, build your faith, and strengthen your resolve. It prepares you to handle the responsibilities and blessings that come with the next level. Because let me tell you, every new level brings new challenges. If you can't handle the discomfort of transition, how will you handle the weight of elevation? If you feel uneasy right now, if your spirit is restless and you can't seem to find peace where you are, don't be discouraged. That's not the end of your story, it's the beginning of a new chapter. God is not finished with you. He is simply making room for what's next. Embrace the discomfort because it's a sign that God is moving. It's a sign that He is stretching you, shaping you, and preparing you for something far greater than you can imagine. Stay faithful because the next level isn't just coming, it's here. Separation is one of the hardest parts of growth, but it is also one of the most necessary. When God begins to elevate you, not everyone can come with you. There will be times when relationships that once felt solid start to shift, and people you thought would be in your life forever seem to drift away. It's not that they've done anything wrong or that you failed. It's simply that elevation requires separation. This is a difficult truth to accept because we are naturally drawn to what is familiar. We cling to people, places, and patterns that feel safe, but sometimes the very things we hold on to are the things holding us back. God will often remove certain relationships and connections to make space for new ones. The people who were part of your past season may not have the capacity to walk with you into your next season. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Think about Abraham. God told him to leave his father's house, his country, and everything familiar to go to a land He would show him. That separation was the first step in Abraham's journey to becoming the father of nations. If he had refused to let go of the familiar, he would have missed the promise. The same is true for you. God cannot bring you into the fullness of your destiny if you insist on staying tied to what is comfortable. Sometimes, the people God separates you from are not bad people. They may love you, support you, and even want the best for you. But their role in your life was for a specific time and purpose. Once that purpose has been fulfilled, holding on to those relationships can hinder your growth. It doesn't mean you stop caring for them or that they are less important. It simply means their season in your life has come to an end. Separation is not only about people, it's also about habits, mindsets, and environments. God may call you to separate from old ways of thinking, toxic patterns, or environments that no longer align with where He is taking you. Elevation requires you to leave behind anything that could weigh you down. Like a runner shedding unnecessary weight to win the race, you must let go of what no longer serves your purpose. The process of separation can be painful. It may feel like loss, but in reality, it is gain. When God removes something or someone from your life, it's because He is preparing to replace it with something better. You may not see it right away, but trust that His plan is perfect. He is aligning you with the people, opportunities, and resources you need for the next level. One of the hardest parts of separation is that it often comes unexpectedly. You may not have seen it coming when a friendship ended, a door closed, or a situation changed. But remember, nothing takes God by surprise. What feels like a setback to you is a setup for His greater purpose. Sometimes God will allow certain relationships to end because they have fulfilled their assignment in your life. It's not about fault or blame, it's about divine timing. As you grow, you may find that your vision begins to outgrow your circle. The conversations that once excited you now feel shallow. The goals you once shared with others no longer align. That's because elevation brings clarity, and with clarity comes a shift in priorities. Don't feel guilty for outgrowing certain relationships or situations. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You are simply becoming who God has called you to be. Separation is also a test of your obedience. Are you willing to trust God enough to let go of what you think you need? Are you willing to release the familiar to step into the unknown? Elevation requires faith, and faith often means walking away from what's comfortable. The disciples had to leave their nest to follow Jesus. They had to let go of their livelihoods, their routines, and even their families to embrace the calling on their lives. The same principle applies to you. Let me tell you this, God will never ask you to give up something without having something greater in store. The pain of separation is temporary, but the reward of obedience is eternal. When you trust God's plan, you will see that every person, habit, and situation He removed was for your good. He is pruning you, shaping you, and preparing you for greater things. So if you feel like you're losing people or leaving things behind, don't be discouraged. Separation is not the end, it's the beginning of your elevation. God is making room for what's next, and what's next is greater than anything you can imagine. Stay faithful, because the next level isn't just coming, it's here. When God is elevating you, He will open doors you didn't knock on, provide opportunities you didn't seek, and align you with resources you never expected. These are not coincidences, they are divine appointments. God has a way of orchestrating moments in your life that position you for greatness, but you must recognize these opportunities and have the courage to walk through the doors when they open. Often, these opportunities come at unexpected times and in ways that don't always make sense. They may even seem too big for you to handle or too sudden to comprehend. But God never gives you an opportunity that doesn't align with His purpose for your life. When He presents a door, it's because He knows you're ready to walk through it, even if you don't feel prepared. He doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called. Your role is to trust Him and step forward in faith. Unusual opportunities are a sign that God is at work in your life. They may seem intimidating, but that's because they're designed to stretch you. God doesn't elevate you to keep you comfortable. He elevates you to challenge you and grow you. Every new opportunity requires a new level of faith, a new level of preparation, and a new level of obedience. You cannot step into what God has for you while remaining in the mindset of your current level. You must be willing to shift, adapt, and trust that He is leading you in the right direction. But here's the thing about divine opportunities, they often don't look like what you expect. They may come disguised as hard work, as a problem to solve, or as a situation that requires you to step out of your comfort zone. Many people miss these moments because they're waiting for something that feels easy or looks glamorous. But God's opportunities are not about your convenience, they're about His purpose. The door may not look like what you imagined, but if it aligns with the vision He has given you, then it's your door. Sometimes these opportunities will require you to take risks. Faith is not about playing it safe, it's about trusting God when the path ahead isn't clear. When God opened the Red Sea for the Israelites, it wasn't until they stepped forward in faith that the waters parted. The same principle applies to your life. You may not see the full picture, but when God opens a door, your job is to step through it, even if you don't have all the answers. There will also be times when God's opportunities come in the form of connections with people. He will align you with individuals who have the resources, influence, or wisdom to help you fulfill your purpose. These divine connections are not random, they are strategic. God places people in your life for a reason, and when you discern those connections, you realize they are part of His plan to elevate you. But here's the key. You must steward these relationships wisely. Honor the people God places in your path, and don't take those connections for granted. Usual opportunities also come with opposition. When God opens a door, there will always be resistance. The enemy knows the impact you're about to make, and he will try to discourage you, distract you, or make you doubt yourself. But opposition is not a sign to quit, it's a sign to push forward. Trust Him to guide you through every challenge and give you the strength to persevere. Let me caution you, not every open door is from God. That's why discernment is critical. Just because an opportunity looks good doesn't mean it's God. Pray for wisdom and clarity. Seek His guidance before making decisions. When an opportunity aligns with His word, confirms the vision He has placed in your heart, and brings peace to your spirit, you can be confident that it's from Him. Unusual opportunities are a reminder of God's faithfulness. They show you that He is working behind the scenes, arranging circumstances and opening doors you couldn't open on your own. These moments are not just about advancing your life, they're about advancing His kingdom. Every opportunity He gives you is a platform to bring glory to Him. So when the door opens, walk through it with boldness, humility, and a heart of gratitude. If you're seeing unusual opportunities in your life, don't hesitate. This is your moment to move forward. Trust that God has already equipped you with everything you need to succeed. Step through the doors He opens, because what's on the other side is greater than anything you could achieve on your own. Stay faithful, because the next level isn't just coming, it's here. When God is elevating you, one of the clearest signs is a heightened awareness of your purpose. Suddenly, the things that once satisfied you no longer do. What used to excite you may now feel unfulfilling. That's because God is expanding your vision and awakening you to the deeper calling He has placed on your life. Elevation always brings clarity, and with clarity comes a shift in focus, priorities, and passion. This awareness doesn't come by accident. It is God's way of aligning your heart with His plan. You begin to see beyond the surface and recognize the eternal value of what He is calling you to do. Your vision becomes sharper, your purpose becomes clearer, and your hunger for more of Him increases. That's because elevation is not just about moving upward, it's about moving closer to God's will. And the closer you get to Him, the more you understand who you are and why you were created. You'll notice that things that once occupied your time no longer feel as important. Activities, habits, and even conversations that once seemed normal may now feel like distractions. That's not because you're better than anyone else, it's because your purpose is becoming clearer. When God elevates you, He also refines you. He begins to separate the meaningful from the meaningless, the eternal from the temporary. You can no longer waste time on things that don't align with where He's taking you. This shift in awareness can sometimes feel overwhelming because it forces you to confront the truth about yourself. You may realize you've been living beneath your potential or settling for less than what God has for you. But don't let that discourage you. Clarity is a gift. It's God's way of redirecting you so that you can live with intentionality. He doesn't show you your purpose to make you feel inadequate. He shows it to you to remind you of the greatness He's placed within you. When your purpose becomes clear, your priorities change. You'll start saying no to things that don't align with your calling, even if they're good things. You'll start saying yes to opportunities that challenge you, stretch you, and grow you, even if they scare you. That's because purpose gives you focus, and focus gives you the courage to step into the unknown. God is not interested in you doing everything. He's interested in you doing the right things. And when you're walking in alignment with your purpose, you'll find that you have the grace to handle what He's called you to do. Purpose also brings passion. When you're walking in your calling, there's a fire within you that can't be extinguished. You wake up each day with a sense of urgency because you know your life has meaning. You're no longer content with just going through the motions or living on autopilot. There's a drive within you to pursue the vision God has placed in your heart, no matter the cost. That passion is a sign that you're on the right path. It's God's way of reminding you that what He has for you is worth pursuing with everything you've got. As your purpose becomes clearer, you'll also notice that your perspective shifts. You'll begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth. What once felt like obstacles now look like stepping stones. That's because purpose changes the way you view life. You understand that everything you go through, every trial, every setback, every delay is part of God's plan to prepare you for what's next. Your perspective moves from frustration to faith because you trust that God is working all things together for your good. But purpose isn't just about you. When God elevates you, He also elevates your responsibility to serve others. Your purpose is always connected to helping someone else. It's not about building your name, it's about building His kingdom. As you gain clarity, you'll realize that the gifts, talents, and opportunities God has given you are not just for your benefit, they are tools to impact the lives of others. Elevation is not about status, it's about stewardship. The higher God takes you, the greater the responsibility He places on your life. Let me encourage you, if you feel a growing sense of purpose, don't ignore it. That's God speaking to your spirit, calling you to rise higher and step into what He's prepared for you. This awareness is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. It means God is moving in your life and preparing you for something extraordinary. Stay close to Him, seek His guidance, and trust that He will lead you every step of the way. Stay faithful, because the next level isn't just coming, it's here. When God begins to elevate you, one of the most remarkable signs is the strengthening of your faith. Elevation requires you to trust Him in ways you may never have before. It's a call to deeper dependence, to a place where your faith is no longer just a concept, but a lifestyle. God doesn't elevate you without first preparing your heart. And that preparation often comes through moments where your faith is tested, stretched, and refined. Faith is not developed in comfort, it's developed in challenges. It's in those moments when you don't have all the answers, when the future feels uncertain, and when you're required to step into the unknown that your faith is truly built. These moments are not designed to break you, they're designed to strengthen you. God is teaching you how to rely on Him, how to trust His timing, and how to believe in His promises even when they seem distant. The journey to the next level is not about seeing the whole staircase, it's about taking the next step in faith. When your faith is being strengthened, you'll notice that God often removes the crutches you've been leaning on. The things or people you relied on for security and stability may no longer be there, and that can feel unsettling. But this is not a sign that God has abandoned you, it's a sign that He's elevating you. He's teaching you to depend on Him fully, not on your own understanding or the resources around you. Elevation requires a higher level of trust, and trust requires letting go of the need to control everything. Faith is also tested in silence. There will be times when it feels like God is quiet, when you're praying and seeking but not hearing the answers you expected. These seasons are not meant to discourage you. They are meant to deepen your trust. Silence doesn't mean inactivity. God is always working, even when you can't see it. He's orchestrating things behind the scenes, aligning people, places, and opportunities for the right moment. Your role in these seasons is to stay faithful, to keep believing, and to trust that His timing is perfect. As your faith grows, you'll find that you begin to see challenges differently. What once would have shaken you now strengthens you. What once caused fear now builds confidence. That's because faith shifts your perspective. It allows you to see beyond the natural and focus on the supernatural. You begin to realize that every obstacle is an opportunity for God to show His power in your life. Every delay is a chance for Him to align things for your good. Faith turns setbacks into setups and trials into testimonies. Another way your faith is strengthened during elevation is through God's provision. When you step into the next level, you'll encounter needs and challenges that you can't meet on your own. But this is where God shows up. He provides in ways that remind you that He is your source, not your job, not your connections, not your abilities. When God opens doors, He also supplies the resources to walk through them. He won't take you somewhere and leave you without what you need to succeed. Every step of the way, He will show Himself faithful. Faith also grows through obedience. When God elevates you, He will often call you to take steps that don't make sense to the natural mind. He may ask you to leave a stable job, to step into a new role, or to move into unfamiliar territory. These moments require you to trust Him beyond logic. Obedience is the evidence of faith. It's saying yes to God even when you don't see the full picture. And every time you obey, your faith deepens because you see how He honors your trust. As your faith grows, you'll also notice a greater peace in your spirit. Even when circumstances are uncertain, even when challenges arise, there's a confidence that comes from knowing God is in control. This peace isn't based on what's happening around you, it's based on who He is. When you know that He's faithful, that He's good, and that He's working all things for your good, you can rest even in the midst of the unknown. Let me tell you this, the strengthening of your faith is one of the greatest gifts of elevation. It's not just about reaching a higher level, it's about becoming a person who trusts God in every area of life. It's about walking boldly into your purpose, knowing that He's with you every step of the way. Faith is the foundation of everything God wants to do in your life. Without it, it's impossible to please Him. But with it, there's nothing He can't do through you. When God begins to elevate you, one of the unmistakable signs is an undeniable sense of inner transformation. It's not something you can fully explain, but you know it's happening. You begin to notice that the way you think, respond, and even perceive situations is changing. This transformation is not by accident. It is God preparing your character for where He is taking you. Elevation requires transformation because the version of you that existed in the previous level cannot handle the weight, responsibility, and purpose of the next. This transformation starts internally before it ever manifests externally. God works on your heart first. He begins to refine your desires, align your thoughts with His will, and strip away anything that doesn't reflect His character. You'll notice that things you used to tolerate or engage in no longer feel right. It's as if God is holding up a mirror to your soul, revealing areas that need growth, healing, or surrender. This process isn't always comfortable, but it's necessary. God loves you too much to let you carry old baggage into a new season. As you undergo this inner transformation, you'll find that your perspective shifts. You begin to see life through a different lens, through a lens of purpose and alignment with God's plan. What once seemed insignificant now carries great meaning, and what once consumed your attention now feels trivial. This shift isn't random, it's intentional. God is expanding your capacity to see beyond the surface and focus on what truly matters. He is teaching you to prioritize what aligns with His kingdom rather than what satisfies the flesh. One of the most powerful aspects of this transformation is how it impacts your mindset. You start to think differently about challenges, setbacks, and even your own limitations. Instead of seeing obstacles as barriers, you see them as opportunities for growth. Instead of doubting yourself, you begin to walk in the confidence that comes from knowing who you are in Christ. Transformation renews your mind, aligns your thoughts with His truth, and equips you to face the demands of elevation with grace and resilience. But let me tell you, this transformation isn't just about your mind, it's about your character. Elevation demands integrity, humility, and a heart that is fully surrendered to God. That's why this process often involves moments of testing. God will allow situations to arise that reveal what's really in your heart. These moments are not meant to shame you, they are meant to shape you. They bring to light areas that need refining so that you can grow into the person He's calling you to be. During this transformation, you may also find that your emotions are being refined. Things that used to trigger anger, fear, or insecurity no longer have the same hold on you. That's because God is teaching you how to walk in the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These qualities are essential for the next level. God doesn't just want to elevate you in position, He wants to elevate you in character so that you can sustain the blessing He's preparing for you. Transformation also brings clarity about your purpose. As God works on you internally, He begins to reveal more about the assignment He has for your life. You'll notice that your passions, desires, and goals begin to align with His plan. The things that once distracted you no longer hold your attention. You become laser focused on what He's calling you to do. This clarity is a gift because it allows you to move forward with confidence, knowing that you're walking in alignment with His will. Another sign of transformation is an increased sensitivity to God's voice. As you grow closer to Him, you become more attuned to His leading. You recognize His promptings, you hear His whispers, and feel His guidance in ways you may not have before. This intimacy with God is one of the most beautiful aspects of elevation. It's a reminder that the journey isn't just about where you're going, it's about who you're becoming in the process. Transformation also changes the way you interact with others. You begin to reflect God's love in your relationships. You become more patient, more compassionate, and more intentional about lifting others up. Elevation isn't just about your personal growth, it's about using your growth to bless those around you. God transforms you so that you can be a vessel of His love, grace, and wisdom in the lives of others. Let me encourage you, transformation is a process and it takes time. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Trust that God knows exactly what He's doing in your life. He's preparing you for greater, and every change, every challenge, and every moment of growth is part of His plan. Don't resist the process, embrace it. Allow Him to do the deep work in your heart so that when the elevation comes, you'll be ready to step into it fully equipped and fully aligned with His purpose. Stay faithful because the next level isn't just coming, it's here. As you reflect on the signs that God is elevating you, remember that this journey is not one of mere happenstance. It is a divine orchestration of His love, purpose, and plans for your life. God has already equipped you with everything you need to move to the next level, but it requires your willingness to trust Him, to step into the unknown, and to allow Him to refine and transform you. The challenges, the opportunities, the tests of faith, and the growth of your character, these are all part of the process that prepares you for the greatness He has prepared for you. Embrace the transformation. Welcome the challenges as opportunities for growth. Trust that every door He opens, every shift in your heart, and every opportunity that seems too big for you is all part of the plan. God is faithful to finish what He has started in you, and as you move forward, He will continue to guide you, strengthen you, and lead you into His abundant future. May you walk in boldness, confidence, and unwavering faith as you step into the next level of your life. Your purpose is great, your calling is sure, and your future is filled with possibilities. Keep your eyes on Him and trust that He is leading you to a place of victory and fulfillment. Good luck on this incredible journey. May God bless you abundantly, and may you always know that you are never alone. He is with you every step of the way. Thank you for being part of this message today, and may His favor be upon you as you rise to your next level.